Hey everybody, Johnny Be Good here. Good evening, greetings. We are somewhere in Union, PA. We're on Interstate 80, mile marker 196, headed easterly bound. Once again, today is Wednesday, April 5th, 2017. All right, I got 50 more miles to go to Cole Township, Pennsylvania. We have about, I don't know, about 28 miles to the next exit, or our exit anyway. Not a whole lot going on today. As you guys know, I'm sure I told this story more than one occasion, but since there's a lot of you out there that are new, I suppose I could retell the story possibly. I used to be an owner-operator. In fact, I went to 3 trucks. The first deal that I got was it was kind of a shady deal. It was somewhat of a, I don't know, I just like everybody else, I didn't know what the world I was doing. A good friend of mine had a brand new truck, and he didn't have a driver, so he offered for me to drive it for a while, and that didn't work out. That's one thing I've learned is don't work for a friend. that doesn't work out. Anyway, to make the story short, I gave him back the truck, and next thing I know, he offers me the truck to pay him $1,200 a month, I think it was, until the truck was fully paid. That was what's in the writing. Well, it dawned on me that, how much is this guy actually going to pay towards the payment of the truck? I mean, he could drag this thing on for who knows, But anyway, before that, there was the company that I used to work for was Nordic Express. One day he came to the yard, and my boss Dan announced that he just sold the company, and the new owner was standing right there. He introduced me to him. Make the story short, I went with Dan, and it just so happened that at that time I was on a dedicated run between Seymour, Wisconsin to Syracuse, New York, Buffalo, New York, all the way to Albany, New York. I could go as far as sometimes all the way to New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. And at that time, I was a dedicated company driver. Then this friend of mine offered me the truck, and I said, Dan, I don't know anything about owner-operator. And he says, well, if you do, I'll give you this dedicated run. At that time, it paid above $3 a mile. It was one of the golden goose kind of a deal. It was sweet. So, make the story short, I jumped into it. About 6 months later, I was making a lot of money. Lots of money. But again, it dawned on me that the way the contract was written, I gave him back the truck, and I bought one of Dan's old FLD Freightliners. Had it all fixed up, and for that first year, I grossed $210,000. However, the maintenance and the fuel came up to about $100,000. That was still pretty good money. And wouldn't you know it? And that first year, I decided to buy a new vehicle because the vehicle that we had was beginning to be a little too small for our family. So that's when I got the Toyota Sequoia. 2004, I believe. And you know, I was putting away 25 cents a mile for the maintenance escrow. Everybody said that was pretty good. And wouldn't you know it, well, before the end of that year, I met this guy from Tennessee. His name is Bob. I met him one day in Massachusetts, and him and I got talking, and we became friends, and you know, talked to on the phone a lot. He was a complete independent owner-operator. He was not a lease purchase. He wasn't dispatched by anyone except by himself, and he was really good at it. He also mentioned that he had a truck sitting in his barn down in Tennessee, and that the pigeons were having fun with it. So fast forward about the end of the year, after putting new tires, new brakes, and get this, I think it was a week after the truck was fully paid, I paid off the truck, and the engine blew up. And it blew up somewhere in Connecticut. And I didn't know what I was doing. I ended up scrapping the truck for $1,500, I think it was. By then, I also had my own trailer. And so I looked around for a different truck, and I didn't have any credit back then. So I got to thinking and remembering what Bob said about the truck that he had in his barn, that the birds were having fun practicing on their aims. So I told Bob, I said, hey Bob, I know this guy down in Tennessee that he's got an extra truck on his barn. Birds are having fun with it. I wonder if I could ask them to sell that truck to me. And he knew what I was talking about. He says, you know, you ought to try it. Give him about a week to think about it. A week later, he decided, okay, I'll give you the truck for $36,000, I think it was. $1,000 a month. And no truck payment for 3 or 4 months. Boy, that was a sweet, sweet deal. I'm glad he did it that way, because about 3 to 4 weeks later, the turbo on his truck blew up. And I'm thinking, oh boy. The good thing was the turbo blew up, and it was the clean kind of blow up. It didn't throw all the particle inside the engine and ruin all the pistons and liners and all that stuff. So I had to get that fixed. And after that, it was done. It was a perfect truck. It was a blue turquoise Freightliner. I think it was a Columbia, maybe. Ran that for about 3 years. Made some really good money. I was able to buy a house. And about a month before the truck was paid for, the engine blew up again. Still in Connecticut. And my biggest mistake was I did not have at least $10,000 in the bank. The point of all this story is, if you're an aspiring owner-operator or lease purchase, you don't have $10,000 in the bank, the minimum is $10,000. I would even say higher than that. Maybe even $15,000 to $20,000. If you don't have that kind of money in the bank, don't do it. Don't do it. Especially if you're a single person with no kids and you can afford to live in a truck, yeah, that'll work. But if you got 5 kids and a house and, you know, car notes and all that stuff, don't do it. It just, a lot of these guys out here that are successful in lease purchase are the semi-retired. They have another income that they rely on. For example, retired militaries, retired police officers, retired whatever. But if you're solely in that truck and that's your only income, I guarantee you that truck's going to break down. And those bill collectors, they are very, very sympathetic when it comes to your truck breaking down. Yeah. They'll say, oh no, just pay us whenever you want, whenever you can. We'll hold your payment. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. In my case, I was given an opportunity to become an owner-operator. For many, many years that I've been driving, I've researched that from one driver to the next driver. It's always 50% don't do it. 50% of them say, yeah, go ahead, do it. It never tips the scale one way or the other. And you know why? Because your research is biased to what you want. You'll always want to go towards, you're going to be leaning on something. And I think a lot of owner-operators want to be out here, or lease purchase. They don't do it because it's a good opportunity. I think they do it not because it's making the money, and I bet you that it's a lack of patience that a lot of these guys end up doing it. In their brain, they know that they shouldn't do it, but they can't get that itchy feeling out of their heart, and they can't wait. They can't, they know that they should save up the money. Their lack of patience pushes them into that situation that nobody should be in it. How many times have we ever been told, no, it's not a good idea? The evidence is there, but we just gotta try it. Somebody says, don't touch that because it's hot. Well, we gotta touch it just to know how hot it is. I heard one driver say, well, follow your dream, follow your passion. What's passion got to do with going into a lease program where the payment is what, $700-800 a week? And they pay you $1 a mile plus surcharge? I've asked this question many, many times. How much does it cost to run this truck, without the driver in it, per mile? I bet you it's more than $1. Wear and tear, fuel, insurance, maintenance. I don't know a whole lot about fuel surcharge, but they go up and down, right? I would imagine, I don't know, fuel surcharge is probably what, 30-50 cents a mile maybe? So now you're getting paid $1.50 maybe? So $1 of that is for the truck. Now you're getting 50 cents. Plus you have to pay your own taxes. You'd be better off working for somebody else for 40 cents a mile. So you're going to sacrifice your money just so you can be an owner-operator. I don't know. That don't make sense to me. With all the headaches and all the, you know, that's another thing too that makes me kind of chuckle sometimes. A lot of these guys say, well, I want to be able to control where I go, what load I pick up, my home time and all that stuff. No, you don't. Unless you have that $14,000 to $15,000 escrow in your bank. You know you're going to be picking up cheap freight. Your dispatch might not tell you where to go and all that blah, 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 but you know what? Your bills are going to tell you, yeah, you got to run. You got to stay out there. The illusion of being an owner-operator, of all this freedom. That's all there is. It's an illusion. Now, if providing you have like Bob, he's got more than what, $40,000 in the bank and savings. Yes, he can afford to sit in a truck stop for 2, 3, 4 days waiting for that, you know, $2 a mile load. Can you sit in a truck stop? Can you afford to sit that long to pick and choose your load? If you were going to go an owner-operator? I bet you not. The beauty about Bob is he can afford to hang up the phone on the broker's face. He can afford to take off for vacation. He doesn't need to run every week, every day. I wish there was a way that you guys could find out the ratio of the lease purchase, the success and the failures. I bet you it's got to be at least 99%. And those 1%, I guarantee you they're not in it just for that sole income. I bet you most of those are retired, semi-retired. Last and final thought is, if you're in it, if you want to be an owner-operator for the pride's sake, That should be your bell right there. That should be your alarm bell. Don't do it. Don't do it. Nothing ever good comes out of pride. How many times have we ever done things for the sake of pride that it always backfires, right? You know, I won't mention any name, but there was this company that they had the success stories of all these lease purchase drivers. Let me retell that in a different story. You ever go to the TA truck stop in Illinois? Oh boy, Morris, Illinois, I think it is. That's where the Costco place was. They have the 4-pound hamburger challenge, where if you eat it in 1 hour, it's free. And then they have the tried and died and the successful ones. See, in lease purchase, you'll never see those pictures of the tried and died. I wish they would do that. I can't imagine. It boggles my mind to even guess of 99% that the tried and died pictures of the lease purchase. I bet you that company that I'm talking about I bet you their wall is not big enough to put the pictures of the tried and died. As I said, I wish there was a national average, statistics that someone can get into or find out. Let's just, for one more thing. If you go to this lease purchase and they make you sign all these bunch of paperwork, I mean, it's almost like signing a house. I mean, it's like you ever bought a house and they got this tons of paperwork that they just made me sign, and I didn't even know what they were. I didn't even ask. I was so tired. The way I look at it is, if you go and lease purchase and you're signing all these paperwork and you don't know what there really is for, and you're signing it, that's another sign. Don't do it. Check that out. All right, we are only 20 miles away to Cole Township. The local time is 7:44. You know, if I could do it all over again, I would not have bought a house. I would not have bought a house. I would have saved that money, put away, you know, at least 20,000. That engine that I had, that it could have been fixed. That wasn't that bad. They could have taken the old engine out, put one in. At that time, it was like $15,000. And one of the biggest mistakes that I did was at the second truck that blew up. See, my truck blew up around almost Christmas, and I ended up scrapping that too. One of my big mistakes was, at that time I had my own trailer, and that trailer was almost fully paid too. And I was so worried, I was so discouraged about having a trailer with no trucks, without a truck of my own, that I ended up selling the trailer sometime in December 28th. And you know what happened? That became an income. I should have sold that thing January 1st. That way I could have used what do you call that? I could have used the depreciation of that towards my taxes. But I was so discouraged and so dumb, I didn't think about it. So I ended up paying $30,000 of taxes that year. And I had to max out all the credit card that I had. And that put me in a hole for at least 5 years or more. See, that's one thing that many people don't think about. If you have to sell your equipment, sell it after the first of the year. Otherwise, it'll bite you in the butt. Would I ever do it again? I'd do it in a heartbeat if I had the funds. I wouldn't do it the way I did it. And I would definitely not do a lease purchase. That's got to be the biggest ripoff highway robbery anyone has ever come up to. I'll give you an example. Lessers out of Minnesota. They auction their truck every 3 years, I think it is. I remember the Freightliner dealer down in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, had about 30. They bought about 30 from lessers. And this one particular company had about 20 or 25. Truck Country Freightliner dealer in Oak Creek was selling it for, I don't know, I think it was $25,000 a piece. They were advertising it, something like that. I honestly, I can't remember what it was now, but let's just say 25,000, right? So they already marked that up, right? This one particular company, they were selling it for 36,000 plus 19% interest. For the same exact truck, year and model, that they bought it from lessers. And it just to show you, there's trucking companies out there. They will gouge you in every way, shape, or form, in every direction they can think of. Another thing that was made me kind of always wondered is that they paid what? Something like 80% of the gross. But they never show you what they never show you the rate confirmation between them and who they're hauling it from. So they can come up with any kind of a number and give you so-called 80%. You know, one of the things that I always somewhat daydream about was if I ever won the proverbial lottery, I would buy this certain companies just so I could find out the truth about their practices. back, what, 10, 15 years. See what the rate confirmation was and what the rate confirmation that they told the driver with. I recently seen a video on YouTube about this two guys where they had somewhat of a disagreement about these people that are trying to pass doing what, half a mile per hour. One driver suggested that the guy on the right lane doing his cruise control, you know, doing his business and all that, that he should slow down and let this guy that pass just pass. This other driver says, why are you telling people to slow down when in fact the one that's trying to pass should back off? You know, in my own experience, I don't pass people because I don't pass people a mile an hour faster because it's gonna get me there any sooner. I want to pass because I don't have the patience for it. Yeah. It's got nothing to do with arriving there early or not. It's lack of your patience. That's pure and simple. And a lot of people do it that way. In my defense, if I can't pass someone that long, I'll slow down and get back on the right lane. Does that make it right? No. Am I better for it because I do that? No. But here's my take. Oh, this other driver says that that this other driver said it was wrong for telling the drivers on the right lane to slow down and let the other guy pass. Yeah, by law you're not obligated to let someone pass you, I suppose. But look, we all know that there are impatient, inconsiderate drivers out there, not even just drivers, there's inconsiderate, impatient people of all walks of life out there, and they don't mind holding on to that left lane until the traffic behind them becomes longer than a mile long. They just don't care. Here's my take. Let that guy pass, not for the sake of that guy, but the hundreds of four-wheelers and people behind that guy. And for you to be on the right lane and not slowing down, you're creating, well, you're not creating, but you're part of the scenario of people getting into an accident. It might not be your fault. But you're contributing to it. Be the better person, I suppose. You know, if you were the four-wheelers or the trucks that behind that left lane been traveling for 10 miles, wouldn't you want that right lane driver to move over or to slow down? Let the inconsiderate, impatient driver just finish it. Let's put it this way. How would you feel to that driver on the right lane if he actually slowed down so that everybody else could pass? If you were behind that guy, would you appreciate that guy on the right lane slowing down? I bet you would. Now, for somebody to say, well, don't let him pass. In my experience, I've let people go by. I'd slow down. And others have slowed down for me too. I'm more like returning the favor. Alright, we are 8 miles away to Cole Township. By the way, the local time here is 8:02. You know what I think I'm going to do? Since it's early enough, I'm going to go to Walmart and get me some groceries. One thing, I'm completely out of water. I usually carry about 4 gallons of water with me, and it's all gone. Get me some fruits, bananas, strawberries. Oh, I have recently fell in love with the Del Monte peaches in a can. my phone is too bright. I don't like bright phones. I like my cabin to be dark, just like they do in a ship. So I've got a 6 a.m. appointment. One of the nice thing about this Reinhardt is I check in, I back in, I go back to sleep. You know, as an encouragement from other viewers and subscribers of mine, they have encouraged me to watch other truck driver YouTuber channel, and man, they talk like, what do you call that? Sailors? Sheesh. Almost every other word is a swear word. I'm not judging them. It's just not my cup of tea, that's all. If they want to swear up and down, that's their business. One thing that I got from all these different channels is some of them are actually fighting among themselves. They're bickering about something. Negative waves. I don't know. I can't point my finger on what my channel style is. I don't know. I don't know if I have a style. I just do whatever comes natural to me, I suppose. I don't have a certain prerequisite. I don't know what is that something prerequisite. Oh, something pre, and then quit. Pre-quit. Prerequisite something. I don't know. I don't have a rule to myself. I don't know. I guess I'm a free agent. Does that even apply? By the way, I read a comment today that said a religious fellow. I'm supposed to be a religious fellow. What does that mean? What does it mean to you, a religious fellow or a religious person? You know, I've asked certain people a couple of times, and they say, "Oh, I'm really, really religious." I don't believe in religion. I have a one-on-one personal relationship with God, the Father, God the Son, the God the Holy Spirit. That's not a religion. What constitutes a religion? To believe on something unseen, unproven? Is that become religion? How many things do we believe that we have not seen, heard, or have evidence with it? Do I consider myself a religious person? Oh, God forbid. God forbid one day I'll say I'm a religious person. In not so many words, I think Jesus said, "Leave your religion behind." And just come to me. Monkey see, monkey do. or you see a truck parked, driver tend to flock around it. But I'm sure this will be no truck parking Walmart. All right, everybody, good night, and God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. And as always, thank you for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ be in your heart. Peace.